Sirens in the Odyssey, not the Little Mermaid. So after going to the underworld to visit Tiresias, if you remember correctly, Odysseus finds one of his men in the underworld, Elpenor. Elpenor begs for a proper burial. As brolic as Odysseus is, he's going to respect Elpenor's wishes and give him a proper burial. Oh yeah, where's Elpenor's body? Back at Circe's island. Woo, 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 woo. Who's getting ready to party? Of course, Circe, being the hospitable sorceress she is, she's gonna feed the men, but she's also gonna take Odysseus back to the closet for 7 minutes in heaven, you know what I'm saying? Circe decides to give Odysseus a few, just some pointers on the way back to Ithaca. If you're like me and you're like, Circe, if you knew how to get to Ithaca, why did you send Odysseus to the underworld? Baby girl, it is Greek mythology. The continuity ain't continuous, okay? So we just gotta enjoy the ride. She says, hey, you're probably gonna run into 3 monsters, because this is the only way I know to go back to Ithaca. You're probably going to run into sirens, you're probably going to run into Scylla, and you're probably going to run into Charybdis. Today we're going to talk about the sirens. So she's like, hey, sirens, they be singing. And I'm not talking just a little Mary Had a Little Lamb, they be singing down. So singing is so angelic and so beautiful and so hypnotic. I suggest you put wax in your ears. Do that for your men and do that for you. Knowing Odysseus and knowing how he is, she's like, you're probably gonna want to hear the siren song. So what I would suggest you do is just tell your men to tie you up real good to the mast of the ship. Tie him up real good if you want to listen to the song. Okay, bye boo. Love you. Odysseus takes wax. He holds it up to the sun, warms it up in his hands, molds it, and then makes some really cute earplugs for his men. And he's like, okay, boys, you can't listen to the music, because I don't want you to die, and I don't want you guys to be stupid and jump overboard. But I, being the captain, I'm going to listen to the song, so if you could just tie me up real good to the mast. So that's what they do. Now, sirens are not what you think they are in the Odyssey. Homer's original Odyssey started with 2 sirens. Years go by, and then someone added a couple more. And then a couple more. The number of sirens went from 2 to 12 immediately. They said there weren't enough. They really said, we are the daughters of Triton, great father who loved us and named us well. Aquata, Adrena, Adela, Arista, Aquata, and Ariel. Sirens are also not your typical Little Mermaid. They do sing, but that's probably the only thing closest to a modern siren that we know of these sirens. Originally, they were bird-like creatures. Then as time goes on and they add more sirens, they say, what if it's like a bird? It's like a woman, but with bird wings, right here. And they're like, okay, but what if it's just like a fishtail? Half bottom fish, half top lady. And the next thing is what if it's just a naked lady? That's hypnotic. Men. So all these go by. But originally, the sirens, there's only 2. They are bird-like creatures. So instead of sitting on a cute little rock and being like, is it too late now to say sorry? 'Cause I'm missing more than just your body. They're actually flying around the ship. There are depictions of the sirens flying around the ship. And the men, thank goodness, because they have the beeswax in their ears, they're just rowing away. They're appreciating the female anatomy. They're rowing, because they're not listening to the wax. Odysseus? He's on this fucking mast and he's like, let me go. Eyes bulging out of his sockets, foaming at the mouth, and then tearing his skin on the ropes because he's going insane. He's fucking going nuts because, of course he's going nuts. He's tied up and he's listening to their song. And this song, unlike in Epic, it's not that they turn into Penelope. What they offer Odysseus is the knowledge of everything. Any and everything he could possibly ever imagine. So they're circling the ship, and they're like, Odysseus, we know everything. We know why you were chosen to win the Trojan War. We know what gods played a part in winning the Trojan War and why the Trojan War started. We also know what's happening in Ithaca. If you want to know right now, we will give you the knowledge of everything. And some scholars have commented on how, why was Odysseus chosen for the Trojan War. He didn't want to go to war. And yet he was chosen to win and defeat Troy. And so what these sirens are offering is knowledge to everything, which makes sense why Jorge in Epic translates that to the sirens turning into Penelope, right? Knowledge of how Penelope's doing, and we can reflect back onto the lotus eaters and how eating lotus makes you forget everything. And Odysseus isn't even tempted. He's like, guys, we're not eating lotus, we're going straight back home. But the sirens are tempting the crap out of him with the knowledge of everything, with the meaning of his life. What is his life meant to be? Is he meant to be a tragic hero? Is he meant to be a heroic hero? Is he meant to be a villain? Like, they can give him that. So he's like freaking out, and his men, playing charades is like, oh shit, we gotta get our boy out of here. And as they row, they turn the corner, and on the island where the sirens reside are a bunch of sailor skeletons. Sirens. So they row. Odysseus calms down. He was writhing enough to give himself rope burns and whatever. And he gives his men the signal okay, I'm fine. And they stay close. They unwrap him, and he's fine. And then they hear a roar nearby. They're near Charybdis.